G'day Fishers, Brent from Tackwell, Port Stephens with this week's fishery report. Now firstly I've got to apologise for my attire last week. Apparently, and my wife said this, that I have a bit of cleavage. So there you go, a few people commented on my cleavage. I'm pretty happy about that. I don't mind being over 40 and having cleavage. So I might be a little bit bigger than my wife in that department. But anyway, we'll move on with the fishing report this week. So those people that commented, you know who you are, no more discounts for you. Anyway, moving on with the fishing report. So there was a little bit of a window of good weather this week. The weekend was certainly blowy last weekend, and this weekend it's not going to be much different, unfortunately. We'll begin inside the bay. Now, last weekend, despite that little bit of westerly blowing, or a lot of westerly blowing, you would have seen on our Instagram page, Alex and John, they got some of our live bloodworms and nailed some absolute cracking whiting down the corner of Shoal Bay there. A couple of fish well over 40 centimetres, 42 and 44 centimetres. So they're absolute beauties for this time of year. So it just goes to show that those live bloodworms do the trick even on whiting in the middle of winter. So there you go. So if you're keen on doing that, when the wind turns to the south there, being Saturday and Sunday, it might be worth a shot at Shoalie with some of our live bloodworms. I reckon you might do all right. So bit of a hot tip this week with that winter whiting. There you go. So still some nice bream around at the moment. There's been plenty of bream up in the leases there at the back of Soldiers Point there. The unfortunate thing is going to be a little bit hard to get to them this weekend. In saying that though, if you're land-based, which is probably going to be the best option in the bay, the Anchorage Marina Wall there has been holding some really nice bream, and obviously so too the Nelson Bay Breakwall. If that swell picks up, it'll be definitely worth having a fish for a few bream around Shoal Bay, definitely around the old gunning placements and torpedo tubes on the incoming tide there, that's for sure. So yeah, inside the bay it's been a little bit slower. Obviously Ludrick down Nelson Bay Breakwall, been a little bit hit and miss. Some guys have been bagging out, some haven't, but I think with this southerly weather they'll definitely turn on down there, that's for sure. So, and also at the back of the bay at the moment, up the Karua systems and the Tilligary systems, we're finding that winter weed starting to appear at the moment, that slime weed, so which means it does shut the fishing down a little bit up in those bits of parts of the estuary anyway. So there you go. All in all, I think it'll be a land-based session in the estuary this weekend. Now off the beaches, some cracking bream off the beaches this week. Plenty of reports of really nice bream. Ted actually got 5 nice ones, including one that he weighed for Shoal Bay Fishing Club last weekend. There was actually 1.1 kilos clean. So that's an absolute beauty off the beach. Really nice bream. So that was up on Fingal there. There's been a few nice bream down the southern corner of Boxy, and also down Samurai 1 Mile, there's been some really nice bream down there. Apparently National Parks did open the beach last weekend for the long weekend, but if the weather's anything to go, they might shut it again. So just check on National Parks website to see whether Barubie through to Stockton is open, but I think it's going to be a blowout along that beach this weekend. It's going to be those protected southern corners. You can probably fish off the beach, if anything, this weekend, depending on how big that swell actually gets. Speaking of bream off the rocks, plenty of nice bream off the rocks at the moment in the washes. There's actually truckloads of really nice bream in the washes. Plenty of drummer around as well, though the water's a little bit clear. I noticed this week it's very clear. Once that swell picks up over the weekend, it'll definitely on for the drummer, and I reckon there'll be a few nice snapper off the rocks as well. Some good tailor around off the rocks. I know off Barry Park there at Fingal, some nice fish around that kilo mark, right on sunrise and right on sunset. If you can get hold of some garries, we do have a few garries in stock, throw those out, slowly roll them through the wash. Best way to catch big tailor at the moment. So that's what's happening there. Now off the offshore scene, I reckon there was about 2 days this week you could get out, and there were fish to be caught. Ari and Sam got out there and nailed some really nice snapper on the soft plastics, fish in the shallow water country. Some really nice fish up to 6 kilos. On the gulps, they said, did really well. Also spoke to Crab. He did really well on the snapper up on the gibber there. Some nice fish as well, but that's going to be a no-go zone this weekend. Maybe next week if we get some good weather, then the snapper fishing will definitely be red hot. It is a right time of year to catch inshore shallow water snapper and big ones at that as well. So give that a crack once the weather clears. So that's about it this week. If you're keen, it'll definitely be worth a fish this weekend. I think the estuary will be the go. And there's some, like I said, there's some good whiting around, some good bream. And of course, you can fall back and go and target some Ludrick down on the breakwall. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'll make sure I wear appropriate tyre next time.